Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are having a great day. We welcome you to the semifinals of the Alpha X Contenders Cup. I'm your caster Snoopy, and joined by my side is Salvanth.
How are you guys going? Due to some issues with scheduling that were no fault of Swaggar's own, we are going to be playing only the one semi-finals today, Chris versus Mandolino. The remaining semi-finals, along with the finals match between the victor of this match and the victor of Jedrix and Swaggar, will be played all in one day in next week. So we're going to have a pretty epic day of StarCraft next week, as is befitting the finals of Contenders.
Yep, that's going to be a doozy here. We're just getting the players doing the vetoes.
Yep.
And while they're doing the vetoes, just want to remind you guys that we do have a Matcherino page. If you type into the Twitch chat !Matcherino, it will bring up the Matcherino link as well as the coupon code in which you can enter to donate 50 cents for free. You just need to sign in with your maybe Twitch account or your Google account or your regular Matcherino account. There's different options in terms of how you want to make the account. And then also, if you want to take a look at the Wikipedia bracket, you can type in !Bracket. That will bring up the Wikipedia page where you can see our most current results. And actually, I could bring up here on the screen the Wikipedia page so you guys can see. And let's go ahead and scroll down. As you can see, the group stage of the round of 16 was finalized, as well as the round of 8, which was done last week. And now we're here at the semifinals, best of 5 for the playoffs. Whoever wins between our two players, Mandolino and Chris, will advance to the finals and have a chance to win the whole tournament.
That is definitely true. I should promote in the thing in the main channel, in the Alpha X Discord channel.
Yep. And to be honest, I'm gonna be rooting for Chris, only because I know there is a guarantee of a Protoss in the upper bracket. But, you know, just to at least get a variety of matchups, I'm hoping a Zerg will advance to the finals, so rooting for Chris. Although, if Mandolino gets through, I wouldn't be mad, because Mandolino's a great player.
Yeah, it would be nice to see a PvZ finals, but, as you said, no matter what happens.
But anyhow, in the chat, let's go ahead and just name your player, who you're rooting for, who you think will come out of these semifinals, who you want in the finals.
Alright, our map pool is Kings, Repugnancy, Port, Kairos, and Auto.
Sweet.
In no particular order. First map has been chosen as King's Cove from Mandolino, a pretty solid choice for a Protoss versus Zerg. Clearly indicating that they probably want to play a macro game to start things off. You want to invite everyone to the party?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and invite you, Chris and Mandolino. It looks like we have Baxter in the Twitch chat. Hey, what's up? He says, best casting duo, best contenders. Thank you, Baxter. I appreciate it, the love.
Even though we don't have much competition for that title of best contenders just yet. Although the most valuable contender cup might be a contender for the title.
King's Cove.
I like how contenders has basically been passed into the vocabulary of Alpha X now.
Yeah.
The most valuable contender cup being open to anyone outside of the Dragons team, which is our semi-professional / professional team, with all of our strongest players in it. So essentially it's open to pretty much everyone from this tournament, plus a couple of other people at about 5,700 MMR on top of that. Such as Kingslayer. or people who had been 5,700 or so MMR in the past, and that's what ineligible for this tournament. So, it will be a best of 5.
Yep.
For those of you just joining us, once again, we will be playing Chris versus Mandolino today, and we will be doing the second semi-finals later on. Jedok has informed me that he won't have time to do both matches on Saturday, so what we're probably going to do is do some sort of midweek cast. I would like to make something happen there. Worst case scenario, we'll have to go without casting it, but we'll still cast the finals as normal. We'll just have to see how things go there.
Yeah, there's always the replays which we could cast if anything.
That is very much true. Alright, so, spawning in the upper left, representing the Zerg, we have the red Zerg, it is Chris.
And spawning at the bottom right, we have our pink Protoss. He is Mandolino.
Yeah, both solid players, both coming into this tournament extremely evenly matched. Both of them within 1 seed of each other. Mandolino finishing the score at sign up at 5,284 MMR, Chris at 5,236. Both extremely close to each other. Neither one of them really the favourites to make it this far. But that's the whole point of Contenders. We bring top matches to people who would otherwise perhaps not really have a chance to make it onto a big stage.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing how this pans out.
Yeah.
This is PvZ. There will be a little bit of a delay before everything really kicks off, with neither player electing for something early on. So how's your week been, Snoopy?
It's been better. I got a little bit sick here. I'm powering through. But hopefully, at least by the time that the finals comes around, I'll be better. Hopefully.
Well, on the plus side, you do only have 1 series to cast today.
Yeah. So I guess it worked out in the overall at least.
Yeah, it did. And she'll have to keep you posted on how things work out with Jidrix and Swag Hop.
All right, cool.
Because we definitely want these semi-finals to both get played. Didn't want to give a walkover today, and I don't want to give a walkover next week either.
Yeah, and also we want to give at least the winner of Mandolino versus Chris a chance to scout their opponent, at least some time to scout their opponent and prepare for their opponent, whoever it may be.
Yeah, it would be ideal for both sides to have the chance to prepare for a specific opponent instead of having to split their preparation time between either 2 opponents in the case of a semi-finalist, or 2 potential opponents in the case of the winner of this match. That's definitely true. Nexus finishes, and Stargate is going down, so again, nothing particularly strange as a third base comes up for Chris. So I think we could see a long one on King's Cove. King's Cove is a very, very large map. I think it's the largest map in the pool. One of the largest maps we've had in memory, and it's a lot like Abyssal Reef with those first 3 bases, so until the 4th start getting taken, there's really not a ton you can do to actually attack the enemy. If you look at the potential 4th bases, they're both pretty hard to take. Relatively open, and no ramps like the 3rd base has.
The good thing about this map is that 3rd base is pretty easy to secure, so usually it goes to the long game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. When the Protoss tries to take the 4th base, really, I think we're really going to see some serious contention in this game. 3 spores going up for Chris already. But Mandolino just seems to be really having the superior macro at the moment. Chris is already down a lot of workers. He has made a handful of lings, but not as many as you would expect for a deficit like that. Mandolino seems to have a very crisp opening already, with 40 workers at the 4-minute mark. And he's going into double Stargate as the tag of choice, which I like, considering that the Phoenixes are very mobile, which is good on a map like this. The larger the map is, the better fast units become. The harder it is for Zerg to just counterattack if they take a lot of damage.
Yeah, he did open up Phoenix, which allowed him to clean up any overlords. So Chris didn't actually scout the double Phoenix play. He only scouted one Stargate, and I'm thinking he's gonna go ahead and just build up that Phoenix count, and then surprise Chris once he has enough Phoenix to move out.
That is definitely the goal, and we do see +1 air weapons being made immediately, which is a bit unusual, but clearly indicates that Mandolino wants to commit very heavily to these Phoenixes. Probably not going to stop at 6 to 8, probably going to go up to 10 or even 12 Phoenixes.
And I like
at least.
I like this decision by Mandolino to go to just mass air, because I mean this map, I mean once you get the dirt base and then once you get the fourth base, it's kind of pretty easy to defend with just a couple of units here and there until you build up that carrier count that I'm guessing Mandolino wants to go to.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just going to go straight into Skytoss off this. There are a lot of Lings moving across the map. Remember, this is sort of the weakness of this star, but they don't have +1, and there is an Oracle with nearly full energy here, as well as a ton of Adepts, so these Oracles will be forced to back away. I mean, these Lings will be forced to back away. Phoenixes are revealed already, though. They will lift up a queen. One of those Phoenixes is incredibly low. Only one spore shot away from dying. More spores being thrown down. Lair finishing. Hydra Den probably on the way after that. As we do see a fleet beacon from Mandolino. So yes, Mandolino does want to go straight into that Skytoss play. Lings try and bust in the natural, but there is no way in. Though more Adepts do need to be warped in very quickly, or else... Chris gets inside! The warping not on... Oh wait, the warping was on cooldown, but Mandolino was supply blocked at the time. He's forced to recall his units from the main, but he will lose a ton of probes in the meantime. 10 probes already going down as the rest of them flee. I think we're going to see an even dozen, maybe even a Zerg's dozen right here. But no, he manages to save the rest of them. 11 probes down. Chris really needed that, but the question is, did he see the fleet beacon? He saw a building being made, and if he clicked on that, he would know what this is. But he's going into Hydralisks instead of Corruptors, so I'm not sure if he knows what this is or knows the correct response. Because, especially on a map this big, Hydralisks are not going to stop a fast Skytoss play. On small maps, a decisive Hydraling or Hydraling Bane timing can win, but I don't think it's going to win on a map this size. Phoenix will... Oh, just barely survive. And these Phoenixes are doing tremendous damage. Mandolino is flowering them, keeping them very close to each other so that the weakened Phoenixes cannot be taken down, and already a lot of Hydralisks being killed as Mandolino advances forward. He's up 15 supply, he's taking out a ton of these queens, he's doing some incredibly serious damage here. The game is not going to end right here, but there's pretty much no chance for Chris to make an attack, and Mandolino is going to get into carriers pretty much for free.
Yeah, Mandolino picking up those, I guess those Hydralisks, those incoming Hydralisks, one by one, allowing him to kind of reset the Hydralisk count, and that's going to be a big help because that allows him to go ahead and just build up to the optimal amount of carries where it doesn't even matter how many Hydralisks you have.
Yeah, I'd like to see Chris double expand here. Just go very heavily into investing in the late game, because I don't think that Mandolino is going to get broken early on before he has a critical mass of well upgraded carries.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. But I think I like what he's doing now. He's trying to fortify his bases before he goes and take that fourth base. That way, if there is a counterattack, at least he can hold on to it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Especially on King's Cove, that fourth base can be so difficult to take. It can be worth delaying it just a little bit, especially since the fourth base is not yet done for Chris anyway. So there is no reason for Mandolino to try and rush into that fourth base before he's ready to take it. It is going to be a Hydralisk based probably offense from Chris. Mandolino is moving out with these Phoenixes, so he will spot it. Manages to back away in time, but he does spot the Hydralisks, so he knows that he's in good shape. And he knows, therefore, he can take his fourth base. A ton of Corruptors would likely do more damage. I like how both sides have walled off their naturals here. Mandolino with cannons and Chris with Evo chambers, reducing the surface area they can be attacked by. Really only 2 locations that Mandolino can be attacked, and they're both pretty close to each other. But still, it is a very open base, and Mandolino's not ready, so this 4th base could absolutely be cancelled if Chris decides to just walk over there and take it.
He doesn't even see that it's there.
Yeah, I don't think an attack is actually a good idea right now. I think he would be better off just taking out this 4th base and calling it a day. 5 carriers that are about to have +2 are done. You're not going to take this on with just Hydroling Vein. Not with the shield battery, not with these cannons, not with the 6th carrier coming on up on it. That is the 5th carrier. So Chris does decide to just back away and perhaps attack somewhere else. Again, does need that 5th base, does need that Spire. Does need to be getting into that tech, really increasing that economy. He's going to try and push through this wall with a Ling Bane while probably attacking with the Hydralisk at the 3rd base. That is one thing you can do here, is try and split up the opponent's army. Carriers are not very good when they split themselves up. He's gonna actually get a few links in as he attacks the 3rd base with the Hydralisk. If he can bust this down, that would be huge, but he can't with the Stasis Ward and chooses to just back away after taking down the cannons. Still very nicely done by Chris. He has lost a lot of units though.
I would like to see Chris just now tech up to at least Spire tech, because it's getting to the late game, and once it gets to the late game, I don't think Hydralisk is going to have a lot of firepower to take down those carriers. I think you need a bit more higher tech, higher tier units.
Yeah, I am a bit worried. A Baneling attempt does go in, but only takes out 5 probes all in all. He's getting an infestation pit now and a ton more drones, but I would like to see again that, as you said, that Spire. There's so many carriers that he really needs Corruptors in order to stop this now, and they are going to get +3 weapons. Hydras are the typical defense against Skytoss, but the typical offense against Skytoss, but I just don't know if they're all that good.
I feel like
he's bringing up the Spore Crawlers now.
Oh, yep. And that's definitely going to help against those carriers. I think there's a few options that the Zerg can go for. Oh, actually, these Phoenixes. Oh.
Yeah, almost all of them go down. So that will at least be a threat that Chris no longer has to worry about. But even so, this is a total of 8 carriers with about to have +3 weapons against these Hydralisks. That's just huge. Meanwhile, Chris is advancing forward with these Spore Crawlers, steadily but surely, knowing that if these Spore Crawlers are here and these Hydras and Queens are here, Mandolino can't really push out and attack the creep. I think Chris's plan is to actually do a slow push onto this 4th base with these Spore Crawlers, getting this creep all the way to the other side of the map.
Yeah, I was just about to say that even if he doesn't go Spire, there's other options that Zerg can go for. Is usually it involves Infestors with Narrow Parasite, but he doesn't have any Infestors now. Yeah, and he's
getting his Narrow Parasite now. Mandolino is pushing forward. A few of these Interceptors will go down, but so will some of these Spores. He does get the Revelation off. A few Hydras move forward, will get sniped for their troubles. And Mandolino looks like he's probably going to want to attack from a position of air dominance, where the Hydralisks cannot actually reach the carriers. He is going to be fighting up a ramp, and Mandolino. Chris is forced to back away, allowing these Spore Crawlers to get sniped down. It does take longer to replenish the Interceptors than it used to, and the Spire does go down, but Mandolino is up 30 supply, and it is a very high quality 30 supply with these carriers. Chris is forced to back away and give up all of his Spore Crawlers one by one. It looks like Mandolino is going to take the opportunity to move out and attack. Neural Parasite will be done in time, and 10 Infestors on the way, so it will be Hydras, Queens, and Neural Parasite as the fight of choice. Actually, will it be done in time? Mandolino is already here. The Neural Parasite upgrade will be done in time, but the Infestors themselves may not be, and this fight could happen right now. Chris cannot get away. He is trapped here.
Oh, man.
The Queens are very hard to kill, but they are going down one by one, and as these Infestors come in, it will just be too late. Mandolino is looking like he's going to take game number 1 right here.
Yeah, unfortunately half his Hydralisk was across the map trying to take down the dirt and the natural of Mandolino, but even so...
Yeah, they will do that, but Mandolino will just hit harder and faster. Looks like this base trade is the only real shot. Oh, but these Stasis Wards are strong, and there are 3 more carriers and 3 voids defending, and this base trade will not succeed. Mandolino will take game number 1.
Yep, there's just no answer for these carriers. And Chris, well, I'm expecting him to GG pretty soon, as he only has 1 base. I guess, well, actually, like 2 bases, because, you know, the main and natural is kind of mined out. But he does have a bunch of infestors. He's going to go ahead and try to make use of these.
Yeah, he's gonna give it a shot, but he's down 80 supply to 160. If he'd had these with his Hydralisk army, it would have been helpful. But as it is, I just don't see the Infestus alone winning the day. Mandolino advances forward relentlessly. Chris is going to give it one last try. He does fungal the interceptors, but they are just dying one by one. The neural parasites do come down, turn the carriers against each other, but there's just too much here, and the infestors will go down. Could engage with the infestors, but needed to have the Hydras and Queens all there together.
Yep, and Mandolino takes a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 series. And it's now up to Chris to decide which is his next map pick.
And that was
Oh, looks like Mandolino needs a bit of a break.
that was King's Cove, which is very difficult for Zerg to win. Definitely a favored map in PvZ.
Yeah, it's a really good map for air, especially because, I mean, air, you know, once you go to Sky Toss, you need, I think, like a 3rd or 4th base. Once you get at least established that, then you can go ahead and power through.
Oh yeah, it's basically impossible to attack that 3rd base, and the 3rd is 3 bases where you really build up that carrier count with Sky Toss if you go straight into Sky Toss. And then by the time you take your 4th, you've already got a very strong army, which can't really be killed by Hydralisks.
Yeah, the 2nd and 3rd base both have ramps on it, so it's kind of hard for the Zerg to kind of push up.
Chris did have a good idea with that splitting that army, though. I did like that. If he'd had a bit crisper execution on that, he might have taken out that 3rd base, which could have made the game look very different.
Oh yeah. I mean, imagine if all those infestors came out before the carriers attacked. I think he would have been able to narrow parasite and used all those Hydralisks and Queens and Spore Callers to snipe down those carriers. I think it might have worked, actually.
Oh yeah, and if he'd taken out the 3rd, he would have bought himself that extra 30 seconds or so that he needed. If not more.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 30 seconds myself.
Alright. Alright guys, let's see what is happening in the chat here. Looks like we have dropped him as J Skippy here. Baxter, of course. Oh yeah, shout out to Baxter for the tier 1 subscription. Allows you to use the little sharky emote, which is awesome. Thank you for the support. We have Furian Sin as well. Black Simon 23, Simon 23. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Sasha Man as well.
And I'm back.
All right, welcome back.
So what did I miss? I think you were mentioning people from the chat.
Yeah, just giving shout outs.
Alright, so we will have to wait and see.
So because these guys are in the semifinals and made it to the top 4, every person will at least go home with 12.5% of the prize pool. Currently, we're at a base or a guarantee of $150 prize pool for the tournament.
Yep, everyone here has already guaranteed themselves $18.75. Winner of the finals will make $37.50. Winner of the semis will make $37.50. Winner of the finals will take a full $75 for their troubles. Let's start up the lobby.
All right, what's the next map? Automaton. All right.
Automaton. Yep. This is a map that can actually be very good for double Stargate as well, and it's also on a big map, so I wonder if we'll see Mandalina go for another Skytoss build on this map.
It's definitely possible. We shall see. Let's see if the players are ready here.
It's a map that's very good for air, but it's also very good for Zerg in terms of mid to late game pushes, especially the mid game, because there is a lot of open space on Automaton. It's an interesting map because it's kind of abusive for everyone. Everyone can find some way to abuse this map well.
Oh yeah.
So it really does come down to who uses the map best.
I feel like every map with a gold base is kind of, kind of weird, or they could be
I
taken
forgot about
advantage
the
of.
gold. I wonder if Chris is planning on taking advantage of that. Okay, so in the lower left, one game down to Skytoss. Picking Automaton as map 2, looking for revenge. It is Chris.
And spawning at the 2 o'clock position, we have our pink Protoss. He is up 1-0. Let me go ahead and update the scoreboard. He is Mandalino.
One thing I would like to see, at least late game, that I don't think I've ever seen on this map, is for Zerg especially. You could easily just take 2 hatcheries at this 4th base location near the gold, break down those rocks, and then start mining from the new hatchery.
Oh yeah, I've seen...
A macro hatch isn't even a bad thing.
Yeah, I've seen some Zerg actually do that. Even Protosses during the mid to late game, once they are about to take their 4th, they just like make the Nexus and just have another Nexus near the gold. I'm not sure if it's worth it or not. I mean, do you?
I think it is. It's basically like a 5th base, right? But it's right there at the 4th base, so it's much easier to defend.
Yeah, but you can't really mine the gases from the gold base, right? So.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I mean, I guess if you're going for like a swarm toss style where you don't really need much gas, you can use extra minerals for like charge loss. I guess you could make the.
But you are right that in the late game at that point, it usually is more about the gas than about the minerals anyway. I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And early game, you can't really break down those rocks. I guess that explains why people don't really take the gold all that often. I think for Terran it would probably be a really good idea.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Terran aren't as reliant on gas. They in fact tend to float a lot of gas as the game goes on. So for Terran having like a second planetary as well, it would just make that position practically impossible to break.
Yeah, because once they go, usually, I guess sometimes, most of the times, Terran will go bio, and that's more mineral-based army than compared to mech, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll often see Bioterrans floating like 1200 plus gas in the late game, especially now that you don't want to mass up Ravens. You only want like 1 or 2 for flavor. The Raven is a fantastic unit, but it's not very good massed anymore.
Alright, we do have a stalker coming out for Mandalino. This is actually an Overlord in the main base, which will be taken out. So that's going to go ahead
Stalker then at depth. That's going to be a bit of delayed scouting for Mandalino, but some denied scouting against Chris. Mandalino has not taken a Stargate yet, so this is probably going to be something a bit tricky. But meanwhile, Chris is going for double evolution chamber at 3 minutes into the game.
Ooh. That is pretty fast evolution chambers for a Zerg player at this stage of the game here. I wonder what he's going for.
Oh yeah. I guess really fast upgrades. He's got enough gas to make it happen. He's been continuously mining gas the whole way through.
You know what?
I don't think he even made speed.
Yeah,
I think he wants those very fast upgrades.
Yeah, I think he might actually go for a timing attack, like right before the upgrades finish. I think that might be something he's going for here.
I don't think that he's going to have enough units by the time these upgrades finish. I think he's going to want to hit a 2-2 timing.
Ah, yeah, that's possible too.
Which would hit much earlier than usual, that's for sure.
Yeah, but look at this. Mandalino has taken all probes off of gas. So he's going for that charge lot push.
Oh, man. That's, interestingly enough, usually this would be a terrible play, but Chris will actually have those upgrades done in time. But I think he's going to be going for a Ling Bane sort of style.
Oh, I think, you know what?
Considering that he's getting +1 melee. So Ling Bane versus charge lots can be difficult to hold. You need a ton of queens to go with this. And Mandalino, and Chris has no idea.
Yeah, his overlords got sniped early on, and actually, I think Mandolino might have taken a book out of Swaggar's uh, playbook
Yeah,
because he's made that
he-
dirt gas thinking that there's an overlord hiding there.
exactly. There's not. He's mining from it to try and trick him. The Warp Prism is spotted by Chris's Zergling. He's making more and more lings. 1-1 will be done in time. There is a lair coming up, but I don't think it's a Baneling nest.
Yep, there is actually no Baneling nest. He's gonna rely on 1/1 lings here to defend.
Notice worth noting that charge does enough damage when the charge hits that the Zealots can take out a Ling in 2 hits if they charge onto them. It's one of the reasons that Lings are just not that great against charge lots. We will see there are going to be 3 Queens here and a ton of Lings, but there's so many charge lots about to warp in and no Banelings. 1-1 and speed finish all at the same time, so this is Chris's best chance to hold with a Ling-based force. This is the best chance for anyone to hold with a Ling-based force that I've seen, but there's just not enough Lings. Oh, the Zealots are in a good position as well. The drones being pulled off the line. The Zerglings doing their best to surround, but there's just so many Zealots. They will finish as the Warp Prism will go down. So this is all the Zealots that they'll have for the moment, but I think it's enough. Zealots, 18 drones have already gone down. Congrats, GG.
Oh, I think Chris might think it's a best of 3, not a best of. It's actually a best of 5.
Yeah, I will have to get him back in. Yo, Chris. It's a BO5 in the semis.
Oh man.
You're not done. You're not done yet. You're not done for yet.
Well, I mean, to be fair, ever since the tournament started, we have been playing best of 3, so I guess it's kind of etched in his mind as like a best of 3, but it's actually a best of 5, and fortunately for us, best of 7 will be the finals, so that's going to be even longer, which is going to be sweet.
It wasn't BO5? Yes, it is a BO5. Mandolino with 2 very quick games with some very different play styles, Skytoss and Charger. This is the kind of way I like to craft series, and it usually does not work as well as Mandolino is making it work right now.
Oh yeah, and I love that touch where he added that dirt gas.
Oh yeah,
kind of I guess adapting or I guess adopting some of other players' strategies.
Yeah, it was very strong. He has told me he does watch Contenders.
Yeah.
And it's clearly worth doing, because you can get some tips like this with some very strong players. So I hope that Chris is not actually left, because he does have 15 minutes to return.
Well, I guess while we wait for Chris, I'm going to actually pass you the lead for now as I go to use the restroom. So I'll be right back.
Sure. So excuse me, Chris is in the playing PUBG at the moment, so I'm actually going to try and send him a voice call to get him back into this thing. He's heading back into StarCraft 2. So we shall bring him back in. There was Port, Kairos, and Repug as the maps remaining of choice. Chris thought it was over. It's not over yet. Mandolino is up 2-0. Chris does have his back up against the wall. Can he come back and take some games, especially with Mandolino's tricks? Are they running short? Will he be forced to play standard now? Will he go back to one of his old tricks, or will he play a third thing, perhaps a cannon rush? It's especially on new opponency, would be a pretty powerful way to go. Mandolino is looking strong, though. I mean, wow. Didn't expect him to make it this far, and he's making very short work out of Chris so far. He's gone up to 5,300 MMR. He's clearly playing better than he ever has. Honor of Contenders is why.
Alright, I am back.
Alright, great. I will promote you to leader. And Kairos is our next map.
Alright, Kairos it is.
Mandolino is clearly playing extremely well. He's playing better than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I think Chris is a little bit down. I mean, he kind of left that pretty quickly. We'll see if he can turn this around. He's going to have to win 3 straight here.
I wouldn't like to lose a series like that so fast either. Mandolino's PVZ is sitting at 62% on the ladder.
Ooh.
He's clearly very strong at this matchup, much stronger than the other matchups, and it's really showing here. Meanwhile, Chris is down at 5,100 MMR himself. I think he's struggling a bit compared to Mandolino, who's reaching basically new heights. So, let's see if Chris can come back against this Titan that Mandolino has become, thanks to Contenders. I think we've ever seen him really do well in a tournament, but that's the whole point of Contenders. We take the Contenders, the ones who fight, the ones who cannot quite beat the dragons, beat the best of the best, and we give them a voice and a platform here. Spawning in the upper left, 2-0, looking to sweep Chris and take out the final Zerg of the tournament. It is Mandolino.
And spawning at the bottom right, we have the green Zerg player. He's down 0-2, looking to do a reverse all kill. It is Chris.
So, the question on everybody's mind is, what will Mandolino do? Another question is, what will Chris do? Will Chris try and switch things up? Or will he decide to keep playing standard? Mandolino has won with two fairly atypical games. I wonder if maybe Chris thinks that he can beat Mandolino straight up. But I wonder if Mandolino's bag of tricks is empty yet.
Yeah, well...
Wouldn't be surprised to see. Go on.
Go on. Well, I was just going to say... Mandolino did pull out 2 different builds, even though it was, I guess, considered standard. He made one with air, and then one with ground. So he's kind of switching it up, which I like.
Oh yeah, Skytoss and Charge Lot All-Ins, I suppose they like standard in terms of... Well, Skytoss is not that popular at the top level, even though the Charge Lot All-In is, but neither one was really the stereotypical, like, stock standard way to play PvZ. So I'm wondering if Mandolino wants to avoid that entirely, or if he's going to go into that. And I wonder if Chris is going to play a normal game and hope that Mandolino will do something like an Archon drop. Although, Mandolino did open Double Phoenix, and those Double Phoenix got a ton of damage done, even though that was a standard opening. Even before the Skytoss began, Chris was behind as a result of that opening, so... I'd like to see Chris mix it up and do something different.
Yeah, same here. Although
Mandolino just seems too strong, too good right now.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Enjoying a really, I guess, a 2-0 lead now. We should see the tech of... Okay, there we go. Stargate.
Yep, we will have a Stargate this time around. And last time that happened, we wouldn't do double Stargate Phoenix into Skytoss. Don't know if we're going to see that again this time around. We may actually see a more standard game from Mandolino. Right now, his chances are looking pretty good.
Alright, Adept going across the map there. Oh, I might actually get this Creep Tumor. Oh no, actually does not focus on it.
He's sending in the scout just to see what's up. Will scout that there's a decent amount of drones at the natural, so he will know that there's nothing really unusual coming. Phoenix first, coming out of Mandolino to deny any scouting from Chris. Adept shades in, sees. Oh, it actually finishes by mistake. But will it get a drone? It does get one drone. The other drone getting in the way. Oh, gets 2 actually. That was not expected. tried to make a spore but got caught on one of the other drones that was mining minerals, and the second one, he just didn't expect that adept to survive long enough to kill it. Neither did I, so I understand. Not really a huge thing, but a bit of a psychological thing for both players. Those 2 drone kills weren't supposed to happen.
Yeah, definitely not game-changing or game-ending, but always nice to get 2 drones in the early game with 1 adept.
Yep, and the scouting. And we will see a double Stargate again. We'll have to see what the follow-up is going to be this time around. I'd be surprised if it was Sky Toss twice. Since Chris has already seen it once, and it's definitely most effective if you aren't expecting it, and that was on King's Cove, which is a much smaller and more easily defensible map. Although Kairos has a relatively easier to take third as well, so we may see the Sky Toss follow-up again. But Double Stargate is the tech of choice for Mandolino, at least for the time being, and we will see how this goes. He's getting the +1 air very, very quickly once again, so I think we are going to see another Sky Toss build. And we'll have to see what Chris does in response this time.
I guess Mandolino's thinking, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, he is, and, well, it very well may work. Now, let's remember that Chris made a pretty strong attack in game number 1, which, again, on a different map. On a map like Kairos Junction, it might have worked and split up Chris's forces, Mandolino's forces, but as it was, Mandolino, on King's Cove, just had a very small area to defend with a ton of ramps and such. So, we'll have to see if he goes for a similar type of aggressive maneuver once he finds out about these Phoenixes, about this Sky Toss, or if he wants to instead expand a lot, go into the late game. I think Mandolino kind of manhandled him in game number 1, but I think it could have been, as you said, 30 more seconds, and perhaps Chris could have held that attack and done well for himself, with those Infestors coming out with Neural Parasite, along with the Spore Crawlers, along with the Hydras and Queens.
Yeah.
He had all the pieces together for defense, just not all at the same time. Here come the Phoenixes. He reveals them pretty early compared to most players, with only 5 Phoenixes being revealed. One of these Phoenixes is actually very low. If he can focus that down with a Spore Crawler, that would be big. But it does survive. 5 drones killed so far, not crippling damage yet. Double Evo coming up from Chris, as well as another Spore Crawler outside the natural, just to prevent Chris from... just to prevent Mandolino from sniping a bunch of drones as they try and go to the third base. Man, I'm getting the players mixed up all the time today. And, oh, one Phoenix does go down to the Spore Crawler. A second one follows. A lot of drones being killed, though, so I'd say Mandolino is okay losing these workers. Losing these Phoenixes. As more Queens come up. And we actually don't see the follow-up. We do see double Robo instead. I thought that +1 air weapons indicated that he was going to go for Sky Toss, but he's not. He just wanted the upgrade early on. He's going into a regular game from here.
Yeah, I love this, because this is kind of... It looks in the beginning, looks similar in the beginning, but I guess it kind of deviates a little bit. Kind of a change-up compared to the first game where he went for mass air.
Lots of Queens to defend now. Starting to spread out that creep. I wonder if he's going to go for a similar type of Hydra Queen push. He's getting double upgrades though, and as well as Hydra speed. So he's not going to attack anytime quite so soon. He's taking a 4th base, but he is just economically, I think he's just a little bit behind the Protoss player. Even supply, which is not what you want as the Zerg.
Yeah.
Mandolino definitely outgrowing Chris, although Chris is starting to boost up that supply, and those Queens are very supply efficient when they actually get a chance to fight.
Yeah, he's actually making a lot of Hydralisks now. I think he's looking to make an attack here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think a 1-1 Queen Hydra timing is the way he's going to go. He's got so many Queens, he's trying to push this creep out to near the 3rd base and make an attack, which could be pretty effective. I mean, Immortals, they're not that good against Hydralisks and Queens. They do decently. There will be some Storms, but Queens are pretty hard to kill with just those Storms and such. There will be a lot of Transfuses. Charge will be done, +1 will be done, but there aren't going to be a ton of units for Chris. And he's starting to thin out those stasis wards. Yeah, he's going to attack with a ton of Queens and Hydralisks. And 1-1 upgrades. He's getting 13 more Hydralisks. He's getting a Baneling Nest. He wants to kill Mandolino right here, right now. He's going to take down these rocks. He's taking down all of these stasis wards except one, but I don't think that stasis ward is actually going to play a role in the fight. Here come the Hydralisks. More and more Hydras being warped in and brought across the map. They will have speed, but not range. There is a bunch of charge rods being warped in. There isn't any static defense, but there are a lot of units. Oh, this stasis ward is actually so close to being triggered, and Mandolino and Chris has no idea. Oh, he's going to move. Oh my god, it's so close!
Oh my god, so close.
It doesn't get any closer than this, folks. And he triggers it. And Mandolino might take this moment to attack, but the Banelings are almost done. The Banelings could actually... good storms go down. The Banelings do not have speed. They have to collide against the Immortals. There's nowhere else for them to go. They do force the charge rods back momentarily. Chris will continue his attack, but he's down in supply all of a sudden. Mandolino not taking a fourth, defending extremely well. And here it comes. The Hydras, the Queens will fight, but actually with a huge arc. Chris is going to just completely destroy this. There aren't that many storms. There are a handful of Banelings to try and take out these charge lots. The charge lots are being killed almost before they get onto the Hydras and Queens. But there's some good storms, and the Hydras and Queens are pretty much just forced to stand in them. Will there be enough from Chris? I don't think so. The Warp Prism doing its best to juggle. There's so many Immortals here and so many Archons. This is just such a strong Protoss force. But here it comes. The Phoenixes lift up some of these Queens. The Immortals and Archons take so long to kill. The Zerglings starting to flood in, and the Hydras are starting to die out, but the Queens stand strong. And again, it is an even trade, but that's good for Mandolino, I feel. More charge rods coming on in. The Zerglings were unable to get into the fight. The Hydras need to take out these Phoenixes, I feel, and they will take the Phoenixes out one by one. Mandolino continuing to push forward. The Warp Prism is looking like it's going to go down, but not quite. And there's just so many Immortals here. I think Chris is going to hold this. The Banelings are not that great against Immortals, and most of them are forced to be cancelled. The Zealots charge on in as the Banelings finish, and will take out the rest of these charge rods, but the Immortals still stand strong, and those are the key units. Those are the units that Mandolino has to keep alive. And I think he's going to. He's going to lose a few Immortals, but Chris loses the rest of his army. And now Mandolino, if he can rebuild, he will have a massive army. He'll have a ton of Immortals, a ton of Archons. Chris has made a very strong push, but I just don't think it's going to be enough.
He was so close to breaking, but Mandolino just had just enough units to defend there. And now he's going to go ahead and feel safe to take that fourth base.
Yeah. Now, it is a late fourth base, but Chris has not been mining off this fourth base for the entire time. He's going into Lurkers as the next tech of choice, so that might be pretty good, but there is a very large Immortal count. Now, Mandolino doesn't have any observers at the moment. If he does forget to make an observer, that could be pretty huge if this Lurker Den finishes in time. But look at how slowly that Lurker Den is building. Oh my goodness, it takes so long. I swear we're watching it with the slowness of Nightmare creeping across the screen as Mandolino is pushing forward right now, and the 5 minutes it takes the Lurker Den to finish is not going to be... Mandolino is not going to give Chris that time. Lurker Den half done, inching bit by bit. The Hydras, the Banes, the Lynx, they're all spreading out very carefully, and there is 2 observers with this army, and I don't think the Lurkers are going to be done in time. Chris is going to need the flank of his life, and he goes for it from 3 different directions. Hydras and Queens coming in, Lings and Banes swooping in, good storms, but all of the storms are gone now. The Warp Prism goes down. The Immortals and Archons are left alone in the fight. The Zerglings are going to swarm in. Actually, I think that Chris might hold this and take out all of the tech units. This could reset. The recall comes in, but a lot of the tech units for Mandolino do go down, and this is Chris's chance. He smells blood in the water. He's going to counterattack and try and take some more damage down to Mandolino. Mandolino's up 10 workers. He's on even bases. Chris needs to get some damage done. But I don't think he feels up to it, but he needs to do something, maybe sending those links to the natural. It has actually been unnatural. It's been open this entire time.
Oh yeah, there's actually no uses there.
Chris is making 12 lurkers. Once those lurkers are done, I think he's going to go for it. Yeah. He's not making any more drones. He's stuck at 63, and I think he's going to go for the kill. Fleet Beacon on the way from Mandolino. That's a good late game investment, but Chris, I think his lurkers are not going to be playing for the late game. They're going to be playing for right now.
Oh, there's actually
Chris has to attack.
There's actually an observer on top of the whole Zerg army, so Mandolino sees all this, and now...
Oh man, he needs an Overseer to take this out.
Yeah. Oh, and here we go.
But here come the Lurkers. They're in a great position already. They're forcing the retreat. They're leapfrogging forward. I don't think there is any way for Mandolino to save this fourth base, but he's going to go for it anyway. Their Lurkers are pretty clumped up, so some storms would be nice. There aren't that many supporting units. Will the Lurkers be enough to chew through? I think they just might. It's so close. The Lurkers do get eaten through, but there's not that many units left. Will it be enough? Chris desperately pushing forward, but I just don't think he's going to make it. He just didn't have the economy for long enough. He needed to spread those Lurkers out a little bit more. I think Mandolino is going to take this.
Oh, but
the game is not over yet.
There's a Ling run by into the
natural end of the main. These natural has been open this entire game, and now it's finally biting Mandolino in the ass. The Zealots warping in and getting killed straight away as soon as they warp in. The shield battery out of energy at the natural, and Mandolino in the meantime is just going to attack.
Oh, but there's not really big army here for Mandolino.
Yeah, he's forced to retreat. He's forced to back away. The Hydras and Lings are trying to surround. A lot of these Immortals do go down, actually. 24 probes down for Mandolino as he's pushing forward with Hydras and Lings and Banes. The Warp Prism is going to go down, and oh my goodness, Matt, Chris is up 50 supplies. Chris takes us the game.
Oh my god.
We have a series.
Chris looked like he was almost dead in the water, but that Ling run by, I think, saved him.
He was almost dead in the water, but as you said, the Ling run by brought him back to life, and I can't believe he held that push. Oh my goodness, Chris on the back foot the entire game, slams forward. He will survive.
Yeah, but Mandolino's still up 2-1, but Chris looking to push it to an ace match, hopefully, in this next game here. But it is Mandolino's map of choice. So we'll see what map he wants to play on next.
The standard Port Alexander, or the very cannon rushable New Repugnancy. Oh man, what a game that was. I thought this was going to be a 3-0 for sure.
Yeah, same here. I mean, Chris didn't have a fifth base while Mandolino had established his fourth base already. So it was like...
Yeah. And then he lost his Lurkers. It's like...
yeah.
What do you do to come back from that? The answer is kill 2 bases worth of probes with a handful of Lings.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, there was nothing to defend that wall. There was no Zealot or a Adept to wall that off.
So New Repugnancy is the tech of choice. Those little things. If that wall had been plugged up, I think Mandolino would have won that game and taken the whole series. But now Mandolino has chosen New Repugnancy, and he's clearly proven himself willing to do weird stuff. My cannon rush senses a tinkling.
I think Xeno's too.
Yeah, somewhere Xeno is saying to himself something. I think something might be about to happen. I don't know if Xeno is in that chat, but if so, let's see if we get your wish. New Repugnancy has a ton of good places to cannon, but we'll discuss that in just a moment. In the bottom left, 2-1. Looking to clear it, looking to finish it off right here. It is his map pick. It is Mandolino.
And spawning at the top right, we have the green Zerg player. Just won a nice little game here. Looking to come back. It is Chris.
So there is a spot underneath the ramp of New Repugnancy which actually allows for 2 pylons, a cannon, and to even glitch the cannon out. I almost took a game off a 5.6k player with that spot because he didn't know about it. If I'd actually known how to cannon rush, it probably would have worked, but as it was, I had no idea what I was doing and ended up not being able to bring it down to a victory. But Mandolino is just going for a gateway. He's not planning on cannon rushing on this map, which makes us wonder why he chose it as the next map. It is not a very good map for defensively for Protoss. You've got 2 choices of thirds. They're both relatively open and far away. The third base to the north is more closed off, but has a ramp going down into it, whereas the one that makes the triangle has a ramp leading up to it, but it is pretty far away from the natural, allowing for split attacks, which Chris has proven himself to be willing to do before against Skytoss. So this might be a good map for Chris. Not too large, not too small.
Well, Mandolino, he did open up Stargate in game number 1 and 3. I'm wondering if he's going to open up the same way in game number 2 where he went for that charge lot build.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who likes to repeat himself a lot. I don't know if he's going to do the same all-in twice in a row, but we'll have to see. Maybe if Chris wins this game and he gets desperate. Oh, the hatchery just manages to pop out before the probe can stop it.
That's always a great
Hatchery
feeling.
pops like an airbag right in the face of that probe, taunting them with their failure.
Oh man, I'm just imagining.
Oh, Chris is actually only on 96 gas. He's messed that up a bit. Needed to take his speed. A few seconds later, we do see a Stargate from Mandolino, so we'll have to see exactly what this means, but it looks like a pretty standard opening so far.
Yeah, it looks like Mandolino's sticking with the Stargate tech here.
Yeah, well, it is pretty flexible. It can go into a bunch of different things, like we haven't seen Adept pushes yet. We haven't seen an Archon drop, which is probably the most standard PvZ build so far. There's a lot we could still see off this Stargate that we haven't seen yet in this series. Or we could see the double Stargate again, because that seems to be Mandolino's... If Mandolino can be said to have a signature build in PvZ, this seems to be it so far, the double Stargate. And he's going for a Phoenix straight away to kill this Overlord. Adept will scout. Again, nothing really fishy for Chris. Making a ton of drones. Making taking that third base. Just going into a more macro game, not going for any all-ins. We'll be having a Phoenix Oracle as normal, and this this Overlord will go down, and the pretty fast 2 gases coming down. So I think there's a good chance we'll see either an Archon drop or a double Stargate. I'm thinking double Stargate again. It's worked well for him so far.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see it go right. Yep, there it is, double Stargate.
As you called it.
It's a build that I've been thinking of learning.
I mean, with the Hydralisk nerf and the Queen nerf, I think double Phoenix is gonna be coming back heavily into the meta here.
Yeah, well, it has been. In the pro scene for the last couple of months. It's become almost a standard build to play, and I feel like I need a new one. My Adept pushes just aren't cutting it anymore. Again, the fast +1 air weapons, which Mandolino loves so much. We'll have to see which third base he wants to take, though. That's going to be the next question. Lings are at both locations to scout when it gets taken. And he's going to go for the third base. It's a little bit further away, but a bit more defensible in terms of the ramp. A lot more defensible in terms of frontal pushes, a little less defensible in terms of split attacks and run bys. So I'm interested to see what Chris might want to do to try and take advantage of this. He's making 16 links, so he's going to want to try and take on this third base. Though I think with these Adepts wedged in this Oracle here, I don't think that's going to succeed. Mandolino pretty good with his defense, though there was that issue with his natural in game number 3, one of the few holes found in him so far. As the Lings do flood across the map to try and see what they can get done, and we have a fleet beacon. It's going to be Sky Toss again.
Yep.
But this is not as defensible or long a map as King's Cove. And, oh, these Adepts are actually right out in the open. If Chris were to pounce on that, he might be able to get them. But there is an Oracle there. Goes after the natural, realizes he's not going to get that. Oracle does cast its energy, and yeah, even with those Adepts out in the open, the Oracle too strong, too good. And Chris is going to be facing Sky Toss once again.
Yeah, let's see how he answers this compared to the first game around.
Yep, double Stargate Phoenix coming up once again. This Queen will go down. The drones so far left to their own devices. Spore Crawler trying to ward off these Phoenixes. Mandolino does micro the Phoenixes carefully to avoid the Spore that was in danger. To avoid the Phoenix that was in danger being in range of the Spore as he fought. Very well, very nicely done. And we do see a Hydra Den coming up again. Again, Chris does not know what he's facing. He doesn't know this is going to be a Sky Toss follow-up, because he hasn't been able to get a scout in. He probably won't know until the first carriers actually come out, at which point he may have a sinking feeling.
Yeah, I feel like Chris has been neglecting sending a overseer into the Protoss base to see what the follow-up is. I mean,
That certainly would have been a useful move to do, yeah. But he's taking a slightly faster fourth base this time around than before. 2 more Stargates on the way for Mandolino, though. He's
oh
going to have
wow.
so many units.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we'll have to see if... Oh, good Ling run. A Ling run by attempt by Chris, but he's a little bit indecisive and he's going to lose quite a few Lings to this. I don't think he can't actually fight, but he's lost a lot of Lings trying. He's moving on and trying to see what's going on, trying to force more Oracle energy out. We do have a shield battery at that natural as well to help prevent it from being broken down. And because Chris is so active with his Lings, that he's going to see these carriers as soon as they pop out. He's making 11 Hydras. We'll have to see what he wants to do here. Is he going the 3 cannons go up for Mandolino once again, as he's going to try and take that 4th base.
You know, with these upgrades lining up, I think he might go ahead and go for an attack, as the carrier numbers are low at this point.
They are very low. Oh, Phoenix is trying to snipe whatever Hydras they can. Remember, last game, Chris lost a lot of Hydras early on before the attack even got started. But there are 4 carriers on the way right now. Chris cannot afford to wait any longer if he's going to want to attack. But I don't think he does want to attack. I think he wants to spread this creep a little further and attack this 4th base. I don't know. There's about to be 4 carriers, and in another minute or so there will be 6. That's so many carriers, and they will have +2 air weapons. 6 carriers with air weapons, +2 air weapons is about when things start to really get crazy. So far, this is seeming like a pretty uncomfortable repeat of game number 1.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see if Chris can get a bit more success on a split attack this time around. He's attacking a little bit faster. +3 air weapons is on the way. Shield batteries and cannons on the way, but they're not done yet. And this is a big, massive Hydralisks, actually. The 4th base could go down once again.
He's going to have to get a lot of damage done. He's committed to this. He's down 12 worker count.
Yeah, stasis ward's going down. These shield batteries and cannons almost done, but they are going to be starting to get chewed away at. And Chris is going to fight this. He's got slow zealots, he's got carriers. The carriers doing so much damage from the back while the zealots are not dying. He's attacking the interceptors. He's trying to... Oh, the interceptors are dead! The interceptors are gone, and they take so long to rebuild now. Mandolino is forced to retreat, and Chris will take out this 4th base.
It's a nice pick off for Chris, but I feel like he still needs to do a bit more damage to make this work, because he's still down in harvest account.
Yeah, that's the problem. When the interceptors go down, they make the carriers temporarily useless, but that just means they can come back bigger and badder than ever. The Banelings are coming in, trying to do some damage. The carriers are at about half strength. Will he be able to take out this 3rd before the carriers are back to full? He's sending more Hydralisks across the map. It's pretty much do or die here, but this 3rd base is in serious danger. There are a lot of interceptors, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Interceptors! The interceptors go down one by one. There is so many Hydras left over. The carriers are basically huge, flying paperweights right now, and they're forced to back away again. I think this 3rd base is about to fall.
Oh, that's a big win there. I mean, that means less gas to make those carriers.
Exactly, but Chris is committed extremely heavily to this attack. He needs some sort of follow-up to actually take out these carriers for good. Because there are now 11 carriers on the field. So Chris needs to tech into something higher up, more than the Queen Hydralisk, if he wants to take this game. I don't think Queens and Hydralisks are going to do enough against enough +3 full interceptor carriers.
Yeah, we're looking at 35 Hydralisks versus 11 carriers and 3 Phoenixes.
Now, interceptors are very expensive, so Mandolino's not going to have a ton of money, but this is just such a strong army once it is fully empowered. 7 spores on the way to help fight this. Man, Chris backing away as these interceptors reach their full potential once again. The spores are going to be done just in time. A couple interceptors do get sniped out. Every interceptor is so crucial right now. Remember, if he's making interceptors, he's not making more carriers. Every interceptor, I think, costs, is it 15 or 25 minerals now?
I don't remember, but he's still low in mineral count. So
Carrier's
can't
on a
afford to
huge
lose.
position. The Hydras can't get onto them. He's trading off interceptors for Hydras.
Oh,
man,
wow.
Chris is overextended hugely here. He hasn't teched up.
Fighting away from the sport colors, I think that this might be his downfall here.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge mistake. 17 more Hydras on the way, but I think that Mandolino might have gotten the break he needed. Chris crippled Mandolino, but then did not respect the threat of the still intact carriers enough.
And I don't think he has an infestation pit to make those infestors.
He doesn't. He hasn't got any tech at all. He was so focused on that attack that the next step did elude him. There are so many interceptors still in the skies. A ton of them have been replenished. And this is just Hydras and Queens against a ton of +3 carriers. He's finally moving forward to try and take out the carriers, but it is too little and too late. Several of these carriers will go down, but there's just not enough army left for Chris. What? Says Chris. He doesn't understand exactly what happened. What happened was he was disabling the carriers without fully killing them, and the threat was still there for the next wave. GG from Chris. Mandolino will take the series 3-1 and advance to the finals to face the winner of Jetorix versus Swagha.
Alright, congratulations, Mandolino. Great showing by Chris, despite, well, you know, the 3-1 loss.
Yeah, he definitely did very well, especially in Game 3. I was so sure he was dead. He did make a good series out of it in the end, but we will have a PvP finals in Contenders. Mandolino's unusual style just proving too strong to overcome in PvZ.
Yeah, Mandolino just looked like he was in better shape today.
And that will be it for our Contenders today, because we will be playing Jetorix versus Swagha likely in the middle of the week if we can, since Jetorix does not have the time to play back-to-back on next week. And Swagha was unable to make it today through no fault of his own. His travel arrangements were changed on him by the company, and he would have been able to play had his original travel arrangements been there. As such, we're going to help try and accommodate him and try and get this match played sometime this week.
Yeah, hopefully we get that down pretty soon. But it's not over for today, guys. There's still more events. There's a ATL Americas Amateur later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can come back later for that as well. Do you want to go ahead and run through the other next few events that we have coming up?
Alright, so first of all, of course, next week, Alpha X Contenders Finals. We do not know everyone is going to be in it yet, but we do know that Mandolino will face off against one of the Protoss opponents for it. Tomorrow we have the MVC Cup, the Most Valuable Contenders Cup, open to non-dragons or below, so we may see a lot of the players that we've had in Contenders so far competing here as well in an open tournament format. I think there's a difference between GSL and GSL Super Tournament, or the difference between GSL and the traditional WCS. We already have a ton of players signed up, including Kuna Matata and Chris himself. So do definitely check that out. It will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we have a Pro Series that will be starting later today at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which will be True versus Future, a ZVT. And if you have not had enough StarCraft for today yet, there is the Validity Gaming, against Validity Gaming, the ATL America's Amateur match, happening in a couple of hours on this very channel, which will be a 4850 MMR Max ATL style match, which is a best of 5 Pro League. So we've got 2 more events today, as well as a ton of events coming up. So do feel free to continue to tune in. We've got some great stuff coming up. And remember, finals next week.
Yeah, it should be good. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who's tuned in. It looks like we're ending strong at 43 viewers. Maybe I'll try to find someone to host or to raid. Well, it looks like Sunny or Mamba. But anyhow, thank you guys. Hope to see you next week for the finals. And any last words before we wrap this up, Sal?
No, really, I think it's all been said. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in support. Apologies for only getting one series to today, but we will hopefully make up for it with the finals.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. This is your friendly neighborhood casting duo signing out.